There's lots of great literature about fools. You know, the fools were the ones who could go to the king and tell him the truth. Everybody else who tried to tell the king the truth would get their heads chopped off. But the fool, you know, he was allowed in the court, and he could tell it like it was because he made them laugh while they did it. In Jewish folklore, there's a town called Chelm. You remember my stories about Chelm? Some of you do. Storyteller Sid Lieberman, there's a whole literature about Chelm, but he put together several stories. He kind of strung them in an order that made sense to me. And they're all about a particular citizen of Chelm, a Chelmite by the name of Mendel. So stick with me. This does have to do with the sermon. Mendel was the kind of man who, I have to step out here. Mendel was the kind of man who, when he was going to go to the public bath, he was afraid that he wouldn't go there because he was afraid if he took off his clothes, he would not remember who he was. But then he had an idea. I know what I'll do. I'll tie a string around my ankle. And so he did. And he went to the bath and he got there, and sure enough, there was somebody else. Probably somebody else from Chelm, and he had a string around his ankle. And Mendel said, "Oh my God, if you're me, then who am I?" Mendel was the sort of fellow who was walking down the road one day, and a gentleman came up to him and said, "Take this, Yankel," and he hit him so hard that he knocked him to the ground. And he just started laughing. And the man said, "Why are you laughing? I just hit you so hard, I knocked you on the ground." And he said, "The joke's on you. I'm not Yankel." Mendel needed to go to town one day. He left, and he was walking in a rather strange fashion. He had his hands out like this, and his thumb stuck up in the air. And he walked through his little village. He got to play where people didn't know him very well, and they looked at him and they said, "Look at that poor man. He has he's paralyzed in some way. His thumbs are stuck out like that." He went to the wagon master, said, "I need to go to the city today, and I have my fares in my pocket, but I can't reach it. Can you take the fare out of my pocket?" For obvious reasons. So the wagon master helped him. He took the fare out of his pocket. He helped him onto the wagon. And then he went with several other people to the city. And as he went, the people helped him. They helped him get in and out of the wagon. They stopped at an inn. They went inside to eat. And the people, he just opened his mouth and the people put food in. And as they got close to the city, finally one lady in the carriage says, "Dear sir, my poor soul, please tell me, how long have you been afflicted with this paralysis?" "What paralysis?" he says. "I'm going to the city to buy my wife a pair of shoes, and this is the size of her foot." This does have to do with the sermon. Because on one more occasion, Mendel needed to go to the city, not to buy shoes for his wife. So he took his own horse and carriage, and he traveled. And again, he stopped at the inn. And when he went in to eat, there was someone saw him, and he said, "There's a man from Chelm. I can fool him. I can cheat him easily." And so he went out and he took Mendel's horse out of the harness, and he went down to the horse trader and he sold the horse. And when Mendel came out of the inn, here was the man who had stolen his horse, but now he was standing in front of the carriage wearing the horse's harness. And Mendel said, "What happened? Where's my horse?" And the man said, "Oh, my name is Mottel. I am your horse. I have been your horse for all these many years, but I had sinned very bad, and God had turned me into a horse. And so all these years I have been praying and praying, and today, praise God, God turned me back into a man." And Mendel said, "Praise God." This is what a glorious day this is. And he helped the man out of the harness, and he says, "Mottel, God bless you, be on your way. And remember, Mottel, no more sinning." And so now he was without a horse, so he went to the horse trader. As soon as he walked into the horse trader, he saw his horse. And he said, "Oh, model, not 10 minutes, you're sinning already." So what kind of a fool was Mendel? You know, in all desire to be faithful as an interfaith with respect to our Jewish brothers and sisters, I would say that Mendel, this character in Jewish folklore, is a Christ kind of a fool. He's the kind of person who has a hard time telling the difference between his neighbor and himself. He's the kind of person, when somebody reaches out and strikes him, laughs because he realizes that the other person is mixed up. He's the kind of person who's willing to undergo ridicule for the sake of his loved ones. And he's the kind of person who cares more for another person's soul than he does about his own pocketbook and his own agenda. The foolishness of God.